What I wish I knew before I dropped out of college, or even just growing up, I wish someone had taught me more about non-traditional paths in life. I think we all grow up thinking, okay, I go to school, I go to college, I intern somewhere, I get a job, I work for, a couple decades and I retire. That's like the American dream. My name is Moses Lin, I'm 29 years old, and I bring in $245,000 a year as a destination wedding guitarist and landlord. I never thought I would be able to make a living performing. It doesn't even feel like working. We're just partying. I grew up in a small suburb of Chicago called Glenview, Illinois. Growing up, my dad was the pastor of a very small church. My mom would help him. She's the church pianist. That's kind of how we grew up. I was the pastor's kid, a lot of expectations put on me to be a certain way, act a certain way. That's also where I got my start in music, so I used to play at churches. My parents didn't have any money set aside for my college or anything like that, and so I knew that if I went to college and took a traditional route, I'd be hundreds of thousands in debt, and I just didn't want to start my life that way. Most people don't know this. The Marine Corps has a band, and the entire Marine Corps has 10 guitarists, so there's 10 slots for a guitarist, and I auditioned for one of the spots. I got it, so I spent the majority of my enlistment, playing in rock bands, jazz bands, and performing for the Marine Corps. I went to college, and I started a YouTube channel, actually, which was just for fun. I had always done like acoustic kind of instrumental covers. At the time, I was doing really well in school, and I was also loving, putting out YouTube videos and just having a good time with that. So I would be in class, on my laptop editing my YouTube videos. And I felt like I couldn't focus on either one of them. My family was against it. My uncle apparently called my parents and was very concerned that, his nephew would be on the street corner performing for tips. And I don't know, for me, I just had a dream and I wanted to chase it. It was a pretty big risk, but I think that's what made it so exciting, and I love that I did it that way. I've always believed that if you don't have a safety net, if you don't have a backup plan, you have to succeed. One day my friend was like, hey, I'm getting married, will you play at my wedding? And I was like, oh, of course, And I show up, and the vibes at a wedding are you can't match them. You really can't. Everyone's drunk. Everyone's having the time of their lives. They're so excited. This is the best night of their whole month. It's incredible. Because with music, like, you play into that vibe, you give them energy to give it back. All of a sudden it's this huge party, everyone's vibing, and I got addicted to weddings. I think a lot of the difficulties I ran into early on was just like pricing. I had no idea how to price myself. And so my first wedding, I charged $250, which is ridiculously cheap. Because that's the going rate that they pay at restaurants. And so that's what I expected to make at a wedding, so I charged $250. And I remember I did this one wedding where I talked to the cocktail hour musician, and I asked them how much they were making, and they said $1,200. I was like, oh my God, I could be charging that too. And so I went home, I doubled my pricing immediately, and I started booking more. And every time I raised my prices, I booked more clients, and they were nicer clients, and they treated me better. I started raising my prices and I scaled it down. So now I'm doing about 40 to 50 a year. And for me, that's a very manageable level. And I'm very happy with where that's at right now. So 40 to 50 weddings a year is usually what I do. I made about $175,000 in weddings in 2021, and that's not including tips. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, and so our mindset was very much this scarcity mindset of there isn't enough, we have to save as much as we can, versus now I feel like I have more of an abundance mindset, where for me, there's so much work out there. There's hundreds and hundreds, millions of weddings every year, and there's billions of dollars spent in this industry. There's so much money out there, but having to unlearn a lot of the money lessons in my past was really hard. My mortgage for the house that I live in is $4,755 a month. As far as day-to-day, I use a very simple budget tracking app called Bird. All my expenses aside, so like fixed bills aside, all my variable spending, I budget about $800 a month. So that's like food, fun, everything. And then for that, I just put in $800 a month, and every time I spend, I just deduct it. And so I can very easily see where I'm at every month. I don't have a savings account. I don't have a Roth IRA or any of that kind of stuff. I like to put the vast majority of my money in real estate. The reason for that is the returns are a lot higher, but also inflation eats up your savings. As a musician, I never really expected to make enough money to buy real estate. So when I bought my first rental property, it was about 3 or 4 years into me owning my music business. And so at that point, I saved up enough money that I could afford a rental property. So everyone from California, New York, they're moving to Texas, Phoenix, Tennessee, like those places. And then those people are moving to Little Rock. So Little Rock is that place where it's up and coming. Property values still haven't caught up to rental prices. So property values are low, rents are high, and that kind of gap, that's where you make the money. I've always been the type where I just do something and then I learn along the way. A lot of people, I feel like they read a lot of books, they go to seminars, they wait till they feel ready before they jump in. I'm the opposite. I jump and then I learn how to swim. With real estate, I feel like I knew enough and I was like, the rest I'm gonna learn on the way. And if it all fails, I'm just gonna sell the property and lose a couple thousand, it'll be fine. My day-to-day does not revolve around real estate at all. The reason I chose real estate as a side thing is because it's super passive. So my property manager takes care of everything. He just sends me invoices. Something breaks, he fixes it, he sends me an invoice. He sends me a bill at the end of the month. And so I'm able to focus 100% of my attention on weddings, on music, and real estate just makes money on the side. Real estate investing, honestly, I think it's more rainbows and sunshine than people think it is. I think people think it's really difficult. I think the hardest part is actually just the mindset. I'm trying to buy about 2 properties a year. Right now, I'm on track to hit that in about 3 to 4 years. Otherwise, you get FOMO, you look at a property like, this is perfect, but you can't afford it. You don't want to be in that place where you're overstretching yourself to invest. So a lot of that is just my real estate appreciating, and that's a huge part of my net worth growth. So right now, my goal with real estate is to be financially free. So what that means is my passive income from real estate will pay all my bills. I'd love to, do a wedding in Italy or Greece. There has never been a moment where I regretted dropping out of college. It is by far the best move I've ever made in my entire life.